A little while ago, I redid the branding on my YouTube channel using Adobe Illustrator, which makes building logos and graphics super easy. So whether or not you're good with the pencil, here are 5 tips to improve your Adobe Illustrator skills. Well, let's get to it. Tip number 1, shape orientation. This is a simple trick, but it really makes a big difference. So when you're trying to draw a shape, like here, say in this pencil we have this rectangle shape in the middle, you could freehand that with the pen tool and just click and make your lines and be as careful as you want. And that gives a fun characteristic. But if you want to be more symmetrical and straight, then you just start with your shapes tools. So I'm going to pick the rectangle tool, draw a rectangle, go up here to the selection tool, and then rotate it like that. And if you hold down shift, you can rotate by increments too. Now this makes a lot of sense with a simple shape, but it comes in handy when you're building more complex shapes, like this, for example. The frame of this telescope I built completely horizontal, and then I rotated it later. And this just makes things so much easier. So there's tip number 1. Tip number 2, create compound shapes. Probably my favorite tip here. Basically what we're going to be doing here is looking at a shape and kind of taking apart the object we're going to create. In this case, in this telescope, we have a bunch of squares here. We have this one at the bottom, which I freehanded. But this shape up here is almost a square, but you can see it's kind of got a circle at the end. So this one's pretty simple. You can use a square and a circle and put them together. So I'm going to grab the rectangle tool here and then the ellipse tool. Okay, to get them the exact height, you can select both. They're pretty close already, but go over here to the transforms, and in this height value, do 0.5, for example. Did it do it? Yep. No. Maybe you have to select them one at a time. Okay. Put them close together, and then use this here under align, vertical align center. Now they're exactly spot on. You can select them both, go to Pathfinder, and right here, click Unite. Now you got one shape. That's a little bit different, but you can see the options are limitless, really. You can create all sorts of compound shapes using that Unite button. So have fun with it. There's tip number 2. Tip number 3, basic shape manipulation. What we're going to do here is start with basic shapes, like we always do. You only have a few options here though. So say I want to create a rhombus shape like in this design here on the clapperboard. It's almost a rectangle, but we need to adjust it just a little bit. So let's use here the direct selection tool. This allows you to select just a few points. You can just click on one point, or you can drag and select a few points and then click on those points and move them any which way. And here you can get those shapes by adjusting them. If you want to select the whole shape, go back to the other tool, and there you go. It's that shape. This works with any shape, of course. So say a circle, go to that tool. Now originally they're all selected, so make sure you click on one point and then drag that point, and you can create some fun shapes there. There you go. Tip number 4, add anchor points. So we are back here to our pencil example, and this has some funky little squigglies up here, right? There's a lot of ways you could create that. In this case, I'm going to rotate this guy back up here to 0. Start. This makes things easy. To add an anchor point, you select the shape, go to Object, Path, Add Anchor Points. Click that. Now if you go to the Direct Selection tool, it'll show you that there are more anchor points than before. And you have to do it in increments. So in this case, I don't quite have enough. I can do that. I can do one shape, but I want to do a few more. So got to select the whole shape again. Go to Object. There, now I got more. So with the Direct Selection tool activated, you can then Shift click on both of those, then hold down Shift again to drag. And adding anchor points allows you to just make some fine-tune small adjustments to the shapes you already have. And again, I recommend doing that the way I did instead of leaving it rotated, because if I do that, it's trickier to find exactly where, because if you hold down Shift, it'll only go up or left. So by keeping it level, I was able to Shift click and go exactly left and right, keep it uniform there. So there you go, that's tip number 4, add anchor points. Last but not least, tip number 5, use clipping masks. So we're back to the clapperboard example here. This pattern I showed you, I used a clipping mask to make that. So first, I'm going to select this shape here, tip within a tip. If you hold down Alt, you can copy a shape. I'm going to hold on Shift so it stays in line. Then the fun part is using Control D. It repeats whatever you did before. So there, I got a couple lines. They're a little big, but you get the idea. So I rotated these shapes, and then I wanted to cut off the top so it just looked like lines. So you've got a rectangle tool. Draw where you want it to cut off. So the cutoff is outside the shape. Now what I usually do is I copy that, because we're going to need that later. Now I'm going to select all of these shapes together with this shape on top, and then come over here and click Make Clipping Mask. Now it kept just what was inside of that shape. Oops, I shouldn't move it. Remember, I copied it, so don't move it yet. Do Control Shift V to paste. The Control Shift V, it pastes in the exact same spot. Otherwise, just Control V, paste it random places. So now I'm going to change this color really quick to white, and then Control Shift left bracket to put it behind. So a lot of shortcuts in there you'll find helpful. They increase your workflow, but that is how you can make that shape. And of course, then you rotate it after you make it. Oh, got to select them both because they're technically a couple layers. There you go. There are just a few tips to help you get started in Adobe Illustrator to increase your workflow and make smooth, symmetrical shapes little by little as you build your icons and your logos. So thank you for watching. I hope that you found this helpful. Leave any questions and comments down below in the comment section. And yeah, if you know anyone who could benefit from this, share it. Please have a good day, do something that you enjoy, and remember to smile.